We were involved in a bunch of things, as you can tell, and we got a call from Joe Foch and said, you need to talk to somebody. And we got on the phone with this guy, and he explained what was going on in a Latin American country, and it was almost too crazy, and we're in crazy places. It's almost too crazy for us to even believe. And so we sent Luke from the FBI down there to check on some things, and we've been down there a lot. But so in Latin America, we don't need more work to do. We're busy enough, but we got a call. We're doing some work in Latin America, but we got a call from, again, Joe Foch and said, talk to this guy. And we got on the phone, we renamed him. He's Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel, because he protects our children. And he shared that he was down there. He's a 4th degree black belt in a Krav Maga type of style fighting. And he was out in the park and working with people. He's got a relationship with the police, really strong. He teaches the police, and there's a lot of corruption in the police. And a man came up to him and offered to sell his 2 little girls to him. And he thought he was joking and found out that that wasn't a joke. And so he went looking for this man. It was too late. He'd already sold the kids. And so he went to his police friends, and they told him a story and took him on a raid and what happens in their country. We know that the cartel will sell drugs and they make a lot of money, but they can make a lot of money off of people, especially in impoverished countries. They can buy a child for $150 to $250 and sometimes make up to $25,000 on selling them for sexual exploitation. But something else too that caught our attention, which they're taking it to a new level of horrible, and that is organ harvesting of children. And it's not just organ harvesting of children to give to a wealthy person who is on a list and can't get help. It's actually harvesting organs to feed to superstitious people that will fly there and pay up to $5,000 to eat part of a child. And when our team member walked into this room, this is tough. This is about as bad as I'm going to get, but I need you to understand this. When he walked in the room, we were a couple minutes too late. There were 2 little children laying on the thing. They were still warm to the touch, but they had been opened and they had been taken out. The girls you saw in there, we saved them. They would have fallen into the same fate. And some others that we have rescued, I'll tell you a couple of their stories. It's really, really hard. These are really, really hard. But a couple of the stories, like one girl in there, I can't point her out, you won't see her now, but she needs reconstructive surgery. She's 5 years old. And she needs reconstructive surgery from being repeatedly raped by adult men in both the front and the back. 7-year-old girl, I couldn't point her out. They're just looking like children, and that's what brings tears to me, is for the first time in their life, they get to act like children. This little sweet girl was so forcefully violated that she now has permanent kidney and liver damage, and she has to wear a catheter at 7 years old. Little 11-year-old girl in there, the oldest girl you probably saw with the blue on, she's now HIV positive. Little boy that we have, he needs reconstructive surgery. He's being sodomized by up to 10 men from the United States a day. And these are the things we have to deal with. I don't want to get into that. That is a PG version of what we have to deal with, and I'm very sorry. But I want us as a church to understand that there is work to be done out there. There are people that don't have what we have. And I'm going back to Luke chapter 19, and this just drives me, especially as I'm in the last years of my life. I want my life to count. And in Luke chapter 19 that we read in verse 16, it just haunts me. And Jesus said, well done, good servants, because you have been faithful in very little, you shall have authority over 10. Well done. When I stand before the Lord, I don't want to just show up in Latin America. I want the Lord to look at my heart and my compassion for those that have less than me. And I want to hear, well done. And that's the most important thing that just came out of that verse to me lately, is well done matters. Just showing up is not enough. I want to show up and I want to please my Father, and I want to hear, well done. I want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. I have to give code names. Our code name for our home down there that we purchased, we'll have 66 kids in there. It's costing us, we have to have clinical psychiatrists, we have to have a medical doctor, we have to have security because the cartel want their property back. It's a pretty tough situation. But we call our home down there Little Starfish, and most of you have heard the story, but it goes from that. There was this big storm, and all this water comes up on the beach, and when the water recedes, there's tens of thousands of starfish laying all over the beach, and a little boy runs down there. Just picking one up, he's just throwing it back. Picking it up, he's throwing it back. And this man walking by, trying to have compassion on this little boy, saying, "What are you doing, son? Look, they're everywhere. What can you do?" And he said, what does it matter? And he picked up another starfish and he threw it back in the water and he said, it mattered to that one. And when we stand before the Lord, there's millions of children in this world that have to deal with things that we're not used to. But we're going to be faithful with what God has put in front of us. And if we can just save one more, that is our heart. We are driven that these children can experience Christ Jesus